Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another mod stream. We're here to get some work done. Check us out. We got a table of contents courtesy of Veek, this man. We'll probably cut all this sub stuff, but that's just for space concerns, because as we get more patches, it's going to be even more insane. But yeah, we got some work to do, so. As I navigate all of my junk over here. So we're mostly going to be working with some AI-related stuff today, but there was some housekeeping I had to do with regards to the latest plugins, and I guess the Nathra core got its AoE taken care of, but I need to modify the weapon or something like that. Oh yeah, I can eject this. Was flashing my BIOS earlier. You may notice that there's no background noise, or less background noise. The fan is still going, but it's way less ridiculous than before because I've got, well, I turn my AC off, but I put in two new fans, one 140 millimeter and one 120 millimeter, both from Be Quiet. I guess this motherboard doesn't allow me to change fan settings through software. I set them to just the generic smart value, where they're supposed to only, like, they're not supposed to be on full blast all the time because the pump fan in the back was 2,000 RPM from startup. So it's ridiculous. Not necessary at all. My thermals are not that bad. So yeah, that was kind of annoying. Okay, so let me compile the latest A's. I don't think anything in here is related to what I need. All right, so that's done. Take a look at the Nathra core. So before I had this keyed in as an overlay, and then I was using attack melee. So I guess I need to... I guess that's what I need to do. I don't know. And then I've built this, so... Let's try that. Don't think I need to worry about anything related to... Well, I was about to say I don't need to worry about crashes, but, you know. Oh, it's because I'm still using the imgal command. Oh, I know. I know why. It's because I called do missile damage in that. Yeah, so this is what I was worried about, is without using attack melee, it actually doesn't do any damage. So... What I'll try doing is actually using the... oh, man, there's no flingy entry available, though. Or if there is... Man, what a mess. What's up, Veek? Alright, so if I jump into units, weapons, flingy, and I check out what we have, because I'm pretty sure that I removed some stuff where previously we were using, like, the side disruptor. Yeah, so we can use this. Okay. Images and sprites. Okay, 194. And we'll compare this to, I guess. Yeah, needle spine hit. Perfect. Well, there's no change besides there not being an ice script mask. 198. Needle spine hit. 000. Okay. 947. So we have All right. I'm just going to check to see what the image is. Math record. It's 9 and 2. Okay. And then in iScript. Oh, no. Yeah, that should be fine. I think we took care of it. All right, let's try that. So now we crash. Oh. Well, I know why we crash. It's because... Well, I would assume anyway. It has something to do with... It could be actually the Nether Core having an overlay attack listed when it doesn't actually have one anymore. But I don't think so, because without the use LO or whatever, it should not be related. All right, so we go to unit side disser. It's in neutral. Hopefully we can get this working. Okay. It created a gateway shadow. So that means, oh. That means that I just have to take the, I know why that's happening. Okay, Natural attack overlay. Side disser. So we're looking at 407 and, yeah, I just need it to be 407, that's all. All right. Thanks. Users you, by the way. Okay. I don't understand why it crashes now. It's got the right iScript. ISID is 407, which means that it's using the right iScript now. At the core weapon init. We go into the graphic itself to make sure that it's correct. Maybe it's not configured correctly. Like maybe there's some images dat flags or something. No. Maybe corrosive acid shot. Now in this case, it's just do missile damage. Wait one end. Oh, there's a SIG order 1, so maybe that's what we need. Its type is 2. Whoa! Do not do that. Oh, I know what happened. There you go. iScript is such a stupid black box with no documentation, I feel like. I mean, there is some, but... Ended... Try that one. I don't get what that means. Bullet being in death state. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's really weird. It's SIG orders 1. Which is what we did. This is why we would use like a white circle or something. So, because like we don't like we just want the damage to hit. We don't really care what kind of damage it is. But So maybe I keep it like this, and we just give it a projectile as a current workaround. But that feels pretty shitty. So I think if we save that, that should resolve a lot of our problems, in theory. The only problem is that it uses the sound effects from the Basilisk attack. Wonder if I can check for source units in Ace. Oh, I can do bullets weapon ID. I should reinstall the GitHub dark mode add-on. There we go. Much less ridiculous. So I can go to Venom. If bullet weapon ID equals 37. Go to Venom, unused 2. Wonder if that'll work. Expected Boolean got integer. I don't even know. Yeah, so it looks like I can't actually get the bullets weapon ID because that's not like a Boolean or whatever. Which kind of sucks. So how can I resolve this issue? Trying to make it so if bullet weapon ID equals 37, go to venom unused, unused 2. Oh, maybe this has to be defined here. I kind of doubt that, but yeah. Kind of expected. Well, what's not expected is like the fact that the like shouldn't it be technically a boolean or whatever? Maybe I have to wrap it. Because I'm checking if an integer equals another number, and that should be boolean in my mind. That should return 1 or 0. Can there not be any spaces? Imagine if it was that easy. Oh, wow. Really hard to test it with the current values. It's also very clearly not. It's appear on target unit, but it's not actually doing damage, it seems like. Well, maybe it was and I just couldn't tell. Get out of here, woman. You're ruining my test. Executed. All right, let's check this out. All right, that seems a bit more reasonable. They still get fucking melted, but Marines deal pretty good damage. Okay. Well, it looks like we've been able to successfully resolve the Nathra core issues. And, actually... 297... There we go. Mhm. Wait, what? Maybe I need to actually play the frame. What? That's really weird. Oh. It might also have been because I didn't define the block on the top. No, it's probably because... I don't know. Okay. I'm not sure about the AoE calculations, but... oh yeah, what was the GPT stuff? Weapon effect. All right, now that we've toiled at fixing up a bunch of stuff related to the plugin and the Nathra core, I think we can hit the AI real quick. Some truly incredible sights. Okay. I can put all that stuff to one side. Let's jump in here. So one of the things that I wanted to address was the lack of defense calls for some of the new units. For one, they should definitely use them for defense, even if they don't train them. So we'll say Nathra core. They already have Gorgoleth. You have to just have the command by itself, I'm pretty sure. Did he lag? Looked like he fucking lagged or something. That's funny. Four, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Wow, we're at exactly 20 defense use calls. I guess I'll have to get rid of some more later, or we'll just have to extend that. All right, so for def build air. Okay, so added AI Nathra core support for defense. Is this too big somehow? No. Functioning software. What else do we got here? So for Terran defense. Oh yeah, this needs to be changed completely. Honestly, it's easier for me to just redo this from scratch. Oh wait, these guys actually want both, and these guys want vessels. Oh wait, we need Centaur, Wyvern, Wraith. Marine, Firebat, Cyprian, Ghost, Savant. I guess we should do Shaman in here. Then we have Vulture, Southpaw. Problem is that we're gonna run out of slots. Siege Tank, Goliath. Then we need Madrigal, Paladin, Wraith Wyvern, Centaur, Battle Cruiser. Okay, so we have 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I have one more slot, so if I want to increment one more, I could save space for apostles. For here, we can just get rid of everything we don't want to be using. First, we'll do A. We can get rid of like the Wyvern, Siege Tank, Firebat. I don't remember if Cyprians can even attack air. Okay. Didn't think so. So now we've got, say, 3 Marine, 2 Ghost, 3 Goliath, 2 Madrigal, 2 Wraith. And that gives us 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay. Got plenty of room there. All right, updated the Terran setup. And now it's on to the Protoss. Alright, so we got a mix of Zealots and Legionnaires, Dragoon Side Templars. No Hierophant. That's in the next one, okay. I think we can also have a Dirk Templar in the basic one, then Archon Reaver. Okay. 2 Simulacrums. Reaver. Aurora Panoptos. 1 Exemplar. 1 Empyrean. I think that's it. Oh, I guess I'll do Exemplar in one and Empyrean in the other. Should be fine. Now for mech, we've got 2 Dragoon, 1 Hierophant, 2 Reaver. Yeah, we need like 4 simulacrum. Oh, I guess we'll do 3. So Legionnaire. 2 Panoptus, 2 Exemplar, 1 Imperium. And we'll take this approach here. 1 Aurora. This stuff should be moved to the top for readability's sake. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2. Okay. Feels good to me. Now for gate, we've got 1 and 3. I'd say 2 and 3. Dragoon Hierophant, yeah. I think it's fine to always have some Hierophants with you. Put the Archon underneath the High Templar for readability. Simulacrum. Aurora. Yeah, imagine just going to Arbiters. Say, Exemplar. Dark Archon, Dark Templar. Yeah, it should be fine. Now we've got Zealot, Dragoon. What is this for air? Okay. Zealot, Dragoon. Same thing, get rid of the Hierophant. We'll say 4 Aurora, 2 Empyreans, and lose the Arbiter. Okay. Cool. Now this is for general. What are we building to combat air? It looks like we are Dragoon, Hierophant, Panoptus, Exemplar. Say Empyrean, and then Aurora, and then Lacrum. Why are the... Yeah, why is this so out of order? That's really weird. And for some reason, this was not in there. I think this is fine, but we definitely need like Simulacrum or something. Two, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Oh boy. So now we have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay. So we can pump up the simulacrum ones. Should we, though? We're going to have augurs and star sovereigns, so... Alright. That's fine, I guess. Okay. Dragoon, Hierophant, Aurora. Aurora, Panoptis, Exemplar, Imperium. Alright, I think we can safely say that this has been taken care of. Okay. Just double checking all of this stuff. Okay. So the other thing was, of course, the build orders for the Zerg were kind of dumb, where they wouldn't get enough evolution chambers. So I also have to go into weight evo, and I have to set it to be like 6, 5, 5. I guess their expansions should eventually take care of it. But it definitely feels like we need more in the form of this thing. Now that I've made it request mutation pits too, that should resolve a lot of the problems, I think. Generally, this means that we should see some much improved defense usage, since now they will actually use the new units. Executed. Hydra Rush, by the way. But hey, they are using Southpaws for defense. That's pretty cool. Hi. Holy fuck, dude. That was an epic strat from the AI. It just immediately surrounded the Hydra den. Oh, this guy's got some Hydras. Not nearly enough. And certainly not enough now that he's got no fucking Hydra den. Just like that. Immediately executed. Executed. He does not have enough. Oh no, there's reinforcements. Holy shit, dude. This guy set up some fucking barracks. Look at him. A fast +2 from the Mongoman. Pretty disappointing that this guy didn't have some sort of answer to this, given how much time he had. All of his units are busy over here. He's got a lot of simulacrums, so there's that. The fucking red wave annihilated everything. That's Malice not working correctly. Well, that was a fucking definitive victory, dude. I've never seen it go that way before so quickly. But there you go. Where is Malice applied again? I'll just fix that now if I can find it. I don't know what set Maelstrom offset is. I think I found it. But I don't know what to do about this. Oh, it's up here. I see. The create top overlay. Yeah, so I could just delete all this code, right? Because we don't actually need it. I don't know what if unit get overlay image ID if it's nothing. I don't. If this is null, then do this and. Oh, I see. If there is no overlay, create top overlay. So we can get rid of these. And overlay image ID should be the new ones. It's 1064. What were all of your A's commits? It seems like you did some stuff there. Wait, what happened to... Oh. Wait, what is this? This isn't even Malice, is it? Yeah, I got really confused. So what's broken about action flags? Oh, are you talking about the fact that like shamans do nothing? They just like are always healing for some reason because that's something's broken about them. Well, cowardice itself by itself doesn't exist really, because malice is given to the unit by default. So I'm wondering what these overlays are for, though. Hierophant detect add maelstrom overlay. Hierophant detect remove maelstrom overlay. Okay. So I should just change this to the same stuff then, I guess. Reasonable. Yeah, the issue is that heavily warps the kinds of engagements you can have or the conception of a unit's strength based on stuff that you may not be able to immediately see. I guess in a world where we could demonstrate like, oh, this unit is glowing in this way because it has this ability or something, like a different part of its sprite has changed or it animates in a different way or something, then we could at least show that. Obviously, that issue that I pointed out with the conception of unit strength being inconsistent based on tech tree still happens with abilities, but with abilities, you know that the unit can cast them always. And a lot of them are already burned into our psyche because we already understand, like, oh yeah, irradiate. Oh yeah, psionic storm. Um, that being said, I would still just have a caster that has that ability by default instead of unlocking it based on tech if I had the ability to do that. Yeah, I don't think upgrades are worth the effort though. Like I think they're just all that it's a better implementation to do it the way that you're talking about, where it's based on active tech structures. But it's still not good because you still don't know at a glance what the strength of a unit is. So we would need to do some more stuff there. Well, we don't have the graphics, even if we had the engine updates to do that. So, yeah. What am I even testing? Oh yeah, mouse. Perfect. Unfortunately, Malediction's slow is there without an overlay, I think. Oh no, it's there with an overlay, but it just uses the default one. It does in both. This one removes and this one creates. 0x1 is detect add maelstrom overlay, and 0x2 is detect remove maelstrom overlay. I didn't set this stuff up, you did, so I figured you would know. I would prefer to just have custom reads. I know. It's going to be pretty epic. Oops. I don't even know what I just did. What am I looking for? Oh. 1067, 68, 69. Whoa! That's not what I wanted to do at all. Yeah, this is for removing the overlay. Well, while you go hunting, I'm going to take a bit of a break here. Use the bathroom. I still have some water, but I'll get some more. And when I come back, hopefully I'll be able to fix up the malediction overlay and push that change. And then it'll just be about Deliverance stuff. This, of course, this process for housekeeping related to HYDRA took a bit longer than expected, but it's all right. We still got plenty of time to get some work done on Deliverance, and then the stream will be over in a couple hours, I imagine. So, a BRB. Hi! What's going on, dude? I'm back. So it looks like update status effects. Has what we need. Well, let's try this out. Thanks, Icore, for grabbing all that. I actually wonder if Ireleths do enable regeneration of geysers without you blowing up the extractor. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, that's way faster. Okay. Perfect. Um. I don't know what you mean about that, iQueer, but I guess special region timer is actually this get A's value. Oh. So I could do that here as well. That's pretty useful. So I assume it just autofills like null and 0 to the fields that you don't need. Cool, it's working. Seems like it's still working for those as well. All right. That seems like it's good to go then. Well, we could add a lazoliths, but we need 2x flingy extender and a lot of other stuff first. Oh, I see. The changelog I was editing is not the right one. Goofball. Yeah, I remember the reasoning why. We need the 2x flingy extender way more than we need any other extender right now. And then after that, we really should buckle down and fix the AI attack extender, among other things. Oh, right. It doesn't really matter, dude. As soon as we drop the new engine, it'll be epic. Oh wait, I actually have this in a brush somewhere. Yeah, that sounds like a problem with the mechanic itself, though. I'm not sure if that's possible to be, to resolve. Like, it's probably something where you would actually have to make it so that the unit in question uh, was immediately converted into minerals or something, but that's even harder to demonstrate. Will the AI even be capable of doing what you're talking about and taking over the player's base? Because if not, then they can't really use the units. I would just have it happen. I mean, if you see those units in action and then your buildings turn into minerals when they get attacked, and then the AI swoops in and starts harvesting those minerals, I mean, I don't see why that can't work. I would say that maybe you should be careful about changing it up too much and making the AI too reliant on that, but that's the only concern I would have about that. What's up, Alexander? How you doing? Allied AI very aggressively expanding. Yeah, if there's an AI ally, that's a good way to like offset it so that you increase the likelihood that the player will experience the like they'll witness the mechanic. So that can definitely be useful. Alright, now we just gotta put the actual finishing touches on this area. What's up, Luciferius? I do not have an asset for weapons platform. But it shouldn't be possible. It shouldn't be impossible to get like a placeholder. It's just not something that I would expect will actually end up finishing anytime soon, so I didn't put too much effort into its asset discovery. So how do you feel about those update videos, Alexander? Do you feel informed? Do you feel up to date? Yeah, the engine dev streams are going to be real epic, man. But I'm also looking forward to getting work done in that stuff. Yeah, I'm very well aware of the idea that I might be biased towards or against certain things, and that will potentially, well, inevitably affect some stuff that I would might do if I don't really pay close attention to that stuff. So I'm in agreement there. I came off a little strong in that particular video because so many people were basically like, as far as I can tell, I mean, these people didn't preface any of their argumentation or their commentary or their pushback with, as an engine developer myself, or I've tried to make an engine before, and let me tell you. So it kind of sapped at the worth of anything that they were going to offer, and most of the people were just like, you don't have any idea how much work it's going to be. I mean, the thing is, like, I probably don't have an idea of how much work it's going to be because I haven't done it. So it's not really useful feedback. It's not even useful, like, skepticism either. And so I probably came off a little too strong in opposition to what they were saying because I didn't really explain why it was so annoying. At the end of the day, it's just a distraction, though. I mean, I'm going to get the work done eventually, so I just would rather not be distracted by people just constantly saying that I don't know what I'm doing, or I don't know what I'm getting myself into, or whatever. Yeah. Well, it's the same idea as like in many respects it's very similar to like storytelling or whatever, just because somebody's taken this concept. Like actually the rule of 3 is a hilarious example. Because 333, everybody knows 3's everywhere. But just because everybody else has done it to death doesn't mean there's no legitimate use for that kind of pattern or whatever. So that's an example of where I would be biased against using it, but I understand that it's fine to use in most cases. Or not, maybe not most cases, but some cases exist where it's acceptable. Yeah, I also don't want to be a man against Rust. Don't worry. Become a man against C++ instead. Yeah, in many cases, it probably is a combination. Like the tools may not be everything that they should be, but that also doesn't mean that the people who used them like understood them fully, so on and so forth. It'll be a really interesting exercise in checking certain assumptions at the door, and certainly it'll be like an opportunity for some really impactful growth, I guess, like as a programmer and all that. So I think it'll be neat. It's going to be interesting figuring out what exactly I want to do with this area. Okay. Yeah, I don't think voxels will really be like realistic options for us because of the art style issues mostly. But I guess performance is another concern. I haven't actually seen what happens with like HYDRA, well, intended scale of HYDRA or even current scale of HYDRA, but in like Red Alert 2, where you've got like thousands of units on screen. I don't know what that looks like. I guess most of the units in that game aren't actually voxels though. Just vehicles and maybe aircraft. I mean, we're gonna be looking at destructibility and modifiability of terrain and objects. We're gonna be implementing that, but I don't think we can use voxels for it just based on the concerns that I've outlined. Well, voxels are they're like a weird pseudo generated 3D inside a 2D engine, so yeah. So it'll be 2D. It'll be Starcraft esque, I guess. It just won't have like insane palette limitations and stuff. Oh my god. There we go. I don't understand why SI's UI is so terrible. Yeah, I think we'll be using sprites for units. It makes the most sense. I mean, obviously the sprites will be built as models and rendered as sprites. So, like, the graphics will be models initially. But that's the case for everything that's not hand-drawn, so... Figured I've been streaming for a while. I should check my temps. Yeah. At about 50C. I don't actually know what the ambient temperature is in here. It's not that hot, though. So. I wish I had more aggressive control over the fans, though. The fans are pretty loud for no reason. Well, the reason is, I guess, that the system is under some load, but... So, forget what I was looking to do next. Yeah, I wanted to see about changing some of this stuff up. Oh, Iquare. My man against Rust. I'll rust every plant in Gotham. Can't believe that fucking Batman game is as insane as it actually is. That really is like a callback to the crazy shit that I played in like 2018. I I don't think that that's even the case. If you cared, if you just wanted to unwind and be taken for a ride, you would at least expect high quality storytelling or gameplay. Like, even if you ignore the pacing of the games, just look at the content that's in them. The stories are so poorly written. The voice acting is usually terrible. Like the actual production value is terrible. It's horrible. It's completely forgettable at best and offensive at worst. So I don't know. I don't think I can sympathize with that approach. I mean, I get that people like them, but I don't know why. I just understand. I accept that as a fact, but I have no idea why it's like that. Why are people like this? Right. But I mean, you should, is the thing. You should think analytically about this stuff. Like, even if you just want to be taken along for a ride, be taken along for a high quality, compelling ride. Don't just be taken along for any old ride. I don't care if you don't want to like worry about a competition or anything, right? Like, I get that there's going to be casual gamers out there, but just because you're a casual gamer, you don't want to be forced to improve every single time you play, doesn't mean that the rest of the content, like, the content can challenge you on like the same way that a movie challenges you with really tough concepts or something. The content can challenge you to like be engaged and, you know, like provide some sort of engagement and escapism without it being just shit. Like, really low grade. But that's all we get. We just get shit. I just feel like there should be more responsibility levied at the consumers of this, just like there should be more responsibility. Like all parties have failed, you know, but that, I don't know. You got to hold people accountable. Right. It's like I'm actually encouraging these people to demand higher quality content for themselves, not like, you know, that's what I'm after is I want to be able to play higher quality content and I want to be able to like, I don't know. I want to be able to say that I played a good game before I die. That would be nice. Not that I have any plans to die anytime soon, obviously, but I'm not getting any younger. And these games aren't getting any better. Right. I just think people should have higher standards, even if they aren't intending to compete or whatever. You know, like that. I think if people demanded higher quality stuff, they would get higher quality stuff. Somebody would step in and satisfy the market, as it were. Dude, my mouse is really not liking this mouse pad. I should actually try one of those steel mouse pads. I've heard good things about them. Yeah, there you go. See, Icor knows what's up. Honestly, I can't wait until we have like some real high quality shit going on. That'll be nice. When we get that micro AI finished for the AI, we get the new engine up in a year or whatever. Hey, Icor, remember when I accidentally had the Savant pre-placed and you were like, don't show me the Savant? That was like I feel like that was like 2 weeks ago or something and it's already implemented. Got some bugs with it, but it's implemented. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I think it will. It'll be really cool to see all sorts of different things in action. Oops. What's up, Veek? Well, I don't think that like the biggest issue is that we don't really have a good area where we can just exercise programming skills. I guess we could do some like problems online or something. But I can't think of any area where we're like, "Oh yeah, we can do this." And this can be the way that we handle certain problems because like so much of the shit that's in Brood War is just unreasonable as fuck to expect out of any other environment, you know? Yeah, that's the thing is anything that we learn now would only really apply to a world where we had actual understanding of and control over whatever we were trying to do in the first place, you know what I mean? So like obviously we can't apply most of what we would learn to Brood War because it's ridiculously hard coded and yada 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 yada. So in such an environment, I'm not actually sure what we would be best served by. Well, the good thing about having source code access, since we're writing the source code, is that we can just go back at any point and revise and refactor. In fact, that will probably be what we do. One of the things that I've learned in my journey of working on Brood War projects is that the enemy, like the perfect is the enemy of the good, right? The idea that if you have this obsession with making something right the first time, you may never finish it. You may never make it high quality at all because you give up because you can't make it at the highest quality or whatever the case may be. That's one of those cases where I feel like we can take a lot of cues from that kind of thinking, and we need a pathfinding algorithm. Well, let's make something and test it and see where its deficiencies are and then iterate on it. But that's better than trying to do all this. Well, in my experience, the inverse would happen where I would do a bunch of research trying to figure out what the best option was, or I would try one thing and then lose motivation because it didn't work out for the first try, and so on and so forth. So we want to avoid those kinds of pitfalls, and I think the easiest way to do that is to fill in the blank canvas. Just like when you're making a map for the first time, or you're writing an AI script for the first time, you want to fill in the blank canvas with some stuff that you can see and manipulate and edit and rearrange and modify. And yeah, it helps to have a plan going into it, like this is my AI script's personality, and or this is the map's thematic, or here's like the specifications related to the map or the AI. It really does help to have that kind of information on hand, but you can't just plan everything and hope that it goes that way. You know what I mean? Like you have to know what you're doing. You have to actually do something at some point. Yeah, documentation is also a big deal for sure. That's one of the things that I've been trying to get better at is documenting whatever it is I'm doing. Like even in the iScript code, sometimes it'll be really tempting for me to remove, just not even write in any comments. And I've been trying to force myself to do that. I think that'll just become a habit over time. Yeah, but comments are, again, it's like the iteration process of designing code in the first place. You want to like, so I will actually, I'll liken this to something that I was doing recently with the second missions briefing in Deliverance. Is I write out like, here's the goal and here's some context. And so it's like, this is what is actually what I want to show, and then here's some information about like subtext or whatever related to that. And I did this in the first missions briefings as well. Like I would write like, here's what I want to actually deliver upon in terms of the content, and here's some context about that will help me do it right. And so you kind of do the same thing. You write the code, and you write like, here's what we're trying to do in a comment, and then you give some other context or whatever. Like, you obviously you do have to update your comments if it ends up getting outdated, and eventually it would be nice to just be able to look at it and see what it's doing. But until we get to that point, comments are a great tool for keeping things updated. Well, I'll be designing the RTS aspect of it with the idea that I really want to push team games, but I will be supporting 1v1. And just because I'm balancing 4 team games, like, my idea is not that like 1v1 is a completely different game. You'll be playing as the same races with the same tools, just on smaller maps probably. But I might even go a step further with that, honestly. Like I have some ideas where I might actually play around with the idea in the new engine of allowing players to recruit AI allies, even in 1v1, like actual ladder melee. As I think that could actually be really cool. Like that could be a part of the tech tree, is deploying an AI ally. And you would choose if you want to do that, then you can, right? But it would just be like any other mechanic or any other part of the tech tree where you either you ascend to it or you don't. So I think that could be neat, but I mean, I haven't put a whole lot of thought into it yet because obviously we're not working on the new engine. So yeah, there will be campaigns, but I think map sets or like scenario packs or whatever are an interesting approach too, which is what you were talking about. It's like, here's a small group of missions, and they have this theme associated with them, but they don't necessarily tell a story from beginning to end. I think that could be fine too. It's just that wouldn't be the flagship content. Like the flagship single player content would definitely be the actual campaigns that would explore the races and the world. And then there would also be like player versus AI stuff that you could play single player, but is designed to, it would be like Nemesis scenarios and stuff where you have these giant battlefields and, much larger scale stuff. So, like, that would be the flagship single player content, I think, would be the campaigns. And then there would be some really central content for AI stuff. So, for like player versus AI. One of the big challenges of designing an RTS around the idea that you're going to be supporting team games in particular is actually related to the fact that we then have to rely on we have to make the AI reliable. so that the player can actually rely on them in some way. Overlord's unable to move. Yeah, he canceled for a night. That fucker. Also the reason Fraud Knight can even exist. But mostly a fucker. You don't have to limit tech for the player, though. Yeah, exactly. So, like, this is false dichotomy, I think, of the idea of limiting tech. I think you can just have the first mission be relatively large scale compared to other RTS games' first missions, and the first impression will be that this is a large scale RTS, and you have a huge tech tree, and you have access to the whole thing. I think that's actually fine from the first mission. It's different, but I still think it's feasible. I don't think it's like an impossible premise, you know? Will Emojins literally transport the server away to Ernalazalith? Yeah. I don't think you'll actually see that happen, unfortunately, just because I don't like the amount of work that would go into implementing the the second tier transport for the Terrans. And I mean maybe that wouldn't be that much work actually. But for AI to actually use it, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Alexander, I think you and many other people will really enjoy the take that Veek and I came up with for tutorials. I had the idea of basically making it so that the player is actually taking part in what was previously a 1 versus 1. So it's very small scale compared to what the campaign maps will have you, like the actual campaign content. If you play the dedicated tutorial, basically it's you're an army commander, you're tagging along with a veteran commander who's already dealing with some rebels or whatever. And so it would basically be some allegory to a Terran versus Terran, except you have an AI ally and he's fighting the AI enemy. And the idea is that this you are actually able to observe, right? And he would probably even encourage that. He would say like, you know, watch and learn, kid, or there would be some dialogue related to that, like, you know, you'll be following this esteemed general, blah blah blah. this will be a great experience for you to study what he does and learn about that, all that stuff. So it would be possible in that way to basically show how what this guy uses certain units with regards to, how he constructs his tech tree, how he handles his economy, and that sort of thing. And you would be able to watch that while you're also doing whatever you're doing. So you're learning how to do things firsthand, but you also have a guy who, like an AI, who knows what to do, who you can follow along with. And that would be like a really simple and intuitive way to teach players what's going on. And as far as like if you're brand new to an RTS, you've never played it before, I still want to facilitate the kind of learning that would be required for that sort of thing. And I think the best way to do that would be to do it through tooltips and have like tooltips. Basically, there'd be a complex tooltip or in-depth tooltip option where you would get more information by mousing over stuff. So you'd mouse over the move command icon on the command card, and it would say orders the unit to move. Right-click on terrain to do this without, right-click on terrain to issue this order. And then attack would be like right-click on an enemy unit to issue this order. Stuff like that, basically teaching you some parts of the mechanics. And then the advanced tooltip stuff would probably also have like this camera hotkey sort of dialogue option there. It would be like above the UI. And you'd be like, you click on it to recall that camera position. And then they would say like, hold shift and F2 or whatever to occupy this camera slot. Something like that. And then you'd have, everything that you could imagine. Like the control group dialogue would be there as an option to turn on or off, similar to what StarCraft 2 has. You'd be able to turn that on or turn that off if you don't like it. I think that's fine. I don't see any real issues with that. Maybe it wouldn't show you how many units you have, but it would tell you if it's like occupied or whatever. And so you'd have the opportunity to just explore that in that way, right? So the mechanics would be expositioned based on that, I think. I think that there being like the UI itself doing the information control for brand new players who have never played an RTS before, or players who don't know about the advanced functions of existing RTS games, or the RTS games they play didn't have those functions. I think the UI will handle most of that, and I think that's the way to go, because you don't have to worry about immersion breaking shit related to that. Like when you launch into the tutorial level that I was just talking about, where you've got this guy who's 1v1ing another guy, and he's like, he'll be able to hold off the initial assaults for a good amount of time, but if you don't do anything at all, he'll eventually die. It'll teach you from the very get-go that this is a game that expects you to play it in order to win, even though it's super low stakes and super low skill would be required to actually win, I think. But the idea is you'd even have some guy mention, like, I've got your command interface up and running, Commander. Hover over any of these icons that you see to read more information or whatever. Like there maybe when you start the tutorial, there would actually be a prompt or something that says like, let me know if you want to enable in-depth explanations or something, something like that, where you just mouse over it and it would tell you. Like you wouldn't have to worry about anything other than the interface telling you what it does. Like that would be how to control that kind of thing. I think that could work. Now, it's a live fire environment. It's certainly not going to be as low pressure as a tutorial where there's literally nothing happening, because there is stuff happening that you can choose to pay attention to or not. But it's sending all the right messages for me, because it's allowing the player to learn as they go and mouse over just what they want to know. And like if they see something that they're not interested in learning right now, they just ignore it, but they can look at it in the future if they want to as well. Like they know it's still going to be there. They can just mouse over that button again later in order to figure it out, right? Like they don't have to worry about that. So that they can learn at their own pace, but they're still expected to play, right? They're still expected to learn at some pace. There has to be some expectation for the player. And that's the kind of game I'm doing. If I was trying to implement or make a more casual game, I probably would have a zero stakes tutorial. But I like the idea of you deploying there and under the idea that you're just going to be studying under this guy who's been a grizzled veteran. He's led 100 battles or whatever. I don't know. Whatever fucking thing you can think of. I think that'll be the better way to educate players on all of the different control mechanics that we add, all of the different like subtleties of unit control, and the more big picture stuff as well of just being able to watch your AI ally, right? I mean, maybe there would even be an option or something where like there's a small amount of time at the beginning of the tutorial where you can choose to just look at your control scheme, just look at your interface before the gameplay actually begins. I probably wouldn't want to do that, but that is a possibility too if we feel like it's still too overwhelming for brand new players who come in and they want to have a little bit of time just to look at the interface. That could be like an option they could pick. Yeah. I think that forcing it sounds bad because you said because I'm saying forcing, but I do unironically think that that's the better way to go about it. So let's see how it goes. Anyway, I'm out of water, so I'm going to BRB again. And I'm back. Yeah, I have to agree with what Alexander said as I was leaving. Because I certainly agree that if you're here to play an RTS, you ought to be looking to play an RTS, you know what I mean? So see, I don't know if like we're still hanging around so I can answer his question. Why? Why do you assume there's DRM? Oh, because if I'm releasing it on Steam, you mean? Um, I don't know how that stuff works. I would love to release a DRM free version. So I was initially thinking I would just release it without using a distribution platform at all. Obviously that inhibits your growth or whatever, but the concern that I would have with any other approach is I don't know if I can make it so that no matter what, like whether you got it on GOG or whether you got it on Steam, you can play multiplayer. Like, I don't know if there's like cross distribution platform multiplayer because I guess it depends if you're using Steam servers for multiplayer. So if I wasn't, then it wouldn't matter if you got it on Steam. But yeah, I was thinking I was just going to release it via my own website, and we could decide to put it on Steam and GOG and the Epic Game Store. I probably wouldn't do that, but yeah, I mean, maybe I would only release it on GOG so that it can stay DRM free no matter what. I don't know, but like initially, I think it'll be my own website kind of deal, and then if there's interest for it being on GOG, that would be a different point, right? But I don't know what I would gain from being on GOG because it's not like it's. I don't know how many people are expressly opening up GOG, the website, or their app thing, the Galaxy, I think is called. I don't know how many people are looking for games on there as opposed to just looking through it on Steam or looking through it on the internet. So I think with some search engine optimization and some, I don't know, publicity stunts, we should be able to do what we need to do. Right. I know it's not obscure, but it's not like the advantage of Steam is obvious. The advantage of GOG not as obvious. Like it's not as popular as Steam. So I guess it's like a compromise so that you keep your DRM free aspect, but you lose out on the sheer volume of Steam's user base. I guess that would be it. That's definitely something that, generally speaking, I feel I need to do more research on, but only when it's actually necessary, right? So, but yeah, I'm definitely committed to keeping things DRM free as I can make them, right? Which I think is fully free. I don't think you need DRM for anything, so. I want to have the lowest memory print, like footprint and performance issues as possible, right? Like, I want to keep things as performant as possible, as small, like hard drive requirement as possible. Not because I'm interested in like specifically supporting out of date machines or low end hardware. I mean, that's an added benefit, but the main reason is because I care about optimization. So, like, that's what I'm after, really. Oh, there you are. I wasn't going to answer that question if you weren't here because I felt like it would be rude. But yeah, tiers. So I definitely have a lot of plans for the tier stuff. I think it's going to be really cool to see that in action. So you were asking specifically about my plans for something like a lower tier unit, like a Marine. And the answer to that is the reason why, like, so basically you would have a version of the Marine. Like, I would have to settle on what the weakest version of the Marine ought to be. And that could mean many different things. So we would have to figure out, like, what is the earliest tier for what the Marine unit actually is. Like, is the Marine... First of all, we would have to decide if the Marine is going to be the de facto basic attacker. If the combat role... If that's a good combat role to have for the tier 1 unit. Just like we'll have to decide that for the Zealot, and we'll have to decide that for the Zergling. As examples. So, I think that... in a situation like what you're talking about, where we've already decided, yeah, we want the, you know, we want the Marine to be the de facto tier 1 unit. That's fine. If we're going to go for that, which I think is fine, then we would say, okay, what's the weakest version of the Marine that we feel comfortable with? So we can figure out like a beginning point, a tier 1 point. And then we want to fill in different ideas. Similar to, like, it's really similar to the Overlord, Irileth, Othstaleth, Alazaleth, where we have this progression of Overlord morphs. It's exactly like that, really. Except, yeah, I actually don't even know if there is an except. Is there a difference? Not really. You're still dealing with, like, the same idea or combat role, or in the Irileth, Overlord, etc. The case there is it's not even a combat role, really. I mean, it has some sort of a combat role, I guess, but it's not at all related to the same deal that we were, like, where it's an actual unit that you have to worry about the damage values of or whatever. So, for my money, that's like exactly what I'm talking about. I'm looking for something like that, and you just have this progression of the more you know, the higher tier you are, the more powerful Marine unit, Zealot unit, Zergling unit, the more powerful the units that you have access to are. So you have access to higher strength, more powerful units. So the tier 2 Marine has Stimpack, maybe. The tier 3 Marine has also has Stimpack, right? Benefits from the older version, maybe. Like, we can decide if we want that to be the case or if we want the other one to be very different. But it can also have Stimpack. and it has, maybe increased range or some sort of behavior, like units that take damage from it are, I don't know, like you could make it so that there's like armor piercing rounds or something, so that each attack from a Marine reduces, like, chips armor down by like 0.1 or something really small. But the idea is that it's more noticeable in large numbers. I don't know if I would do that because it's kind of small number stuff, and that gets messy if you're trying to deal with that, as the Southpaw has shown us. But that's one option that we have. So yeah, hopefully that explains things. I think it would be very similar to what the Elazaleth and so on have demonstrated thus far. Oh yeah, I don't think I ever actually finished my point that I was trying to follow up with regards to what Alexander said earlier, but the idea that I was having based on what he said was that if you say you're here to play an RTS, then you should be able to back that up relatively easily. And I don't feel too bad about like forcing, quote unquote, the players to, demonstrate that they're willing to grow and learn as time goes on. So I think that will be interesting. Another thing that I would like to explore is the idea of tiered production structures, where maybe your tier 1 production structure can actually train tier 2 and maybe even tier 3 units in some cases. But the idea is that, like, tier 2 ones train stuff faster or have some other benefit associated with them. I think that could be an interesting way of expressing your power, because you could then go for tier 2 production structures or tier 3 production structures and then spam a lot of tier 1 units, like build them faster than you could otherwise. So there's still like an expression of power of your tech tree level, even if you don't have the resources or the desire, for whatever reason, to build a lot of the advanced tier units. like maybe you don't want to build tier 3 Marines, you want to build tier 2 or tier 1 Marines, but you have these tier 3 production structures, so you can spam those lower tier units out a lot faster. Something like that could definitely be in the cards for tech tree progression, I think. The main concern with any sort of situation where you basically have a bunch of units that outmode each other is where the case where you have the sensation that your units are not very unique because you've got higher tier ones waiting. I would harken you guys back to when I was playing Age of Empires 3 so many years ago now, and I was complaining about how like certain options would just get removed and outmoded as time went on. Similar approaches to what I'm doing have resulted in that, right? But the distinction here is that you will still require resources to properly express the kind of power that you have. It's never a fire and forget thing where you just suddenly don't have access to a weaker unit and now have access to a stronger unit. The cost increases, but the access to the original unit remains. So you decide if you want to get the lower cost, weaker unit or the higher cost, stronger unit. It's just another tool that you have at your disposal now, another way for you to express the power of your tech tree. So in such an environment, I feel like it's much better suited for this kind of thing. Looks like I fell asleep over here doing that one. Seems like my issues with temperatures and stuff. Well, I didn't really have temperature issues with this computer, I don't think, but it doesn't seem like they've been massively improved with the fans that I've plugged in, unfortunately. I think it's a case issue. I shouldn't have got one with one of those tempered glass panels. All right. I'll probably, I think I'll move Gorn down to this area so that Gorn and Deimos kind of contest over this high ground area, and also use this area as like a nice battleground. I'm not sure exactly where I'll move him though. Welcome back. right. So we sort of have some understanding of what we're doing over here now. I gotta say that the change that I was able to throw together somehow, involving the okay, that feels a bit better. But yeah, the change where you actually have full control over moving through the area that your workers are mining in. I feel like that opened up so many possibilities for designing bases so that you don't have to worry about that stupid shit interfering with pathing. I made a ton of those interesting base areas in DF's birthday map. It was a series of completely unreasonable bases, more or less. Not even like Muta's dozen bases, just absolutely insane layouts. I'm probably making them sound way worse than they actually are, but that's just because no matter how bad I think they are, I can't make them worse. Because I can't, my conscience cannot bear it. All right. All right. Well, I think that will do it for today. We managed to get a striking amount of progress done on the HYDRA housekeeping stuff, and some pretty good, if a little monotonous and manual, work done on the map. I will continue tinkering with this throughout the day, most likely, but I'm going to take a bit of a break now. I got to go vote in the local elections for my state, and then after that, I got to do some other stuff. Probably suffer through more Batman. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for hanging. Thanks for the very engaging conversation. Thanks to Iquare and Alexander and Veek for all that. And I'll catch you guys later on. Bye.